Chapter 2, Introduction to ICD-10 PCS. ICD-10 PCS stands for International Classification of Diseases 10th Revision Procedure Coding System. Developed under contract by CMS by 3M Health Information Systems. ICD-10 PCS is designated as the coding system to assign procedure codes for inpatient procedures. Some characteristics of ICD-10 PCS. Multi-axle, 7-character alphanumeric code structure. Provides a unique code for all substantially different procedures. It was developed exclusively for the United States by 3M HIS. Initially released in 1998, and the last update was October 2016. So 4 attributes that were included in the development of ICD-10 PCS include completeness, expandability, multi-axle, and standardized terminology. Completeness is a unique code for all substantially different procedures. Expandability allows a new code for procedures to be easily identified. Multi-axle is independent characters to describe the procedure. And standardized terminology is each term has a specific meaning or definition. So there are 4 general principles of the ICD-10 PCS development. No diagnosis or reason for the procedure are included in the ICD-10 PCS procedure code description. Limit the not otherwise specific codes available. Limit the use of NEC codes or other specified types of codes. And the system will allow for all procedures to be coded with ICD-10 PCS. Codes are constructed using the alphabetic index and the code tables. Codes are 7 characters in length. They're composed of letters and numbers called values. Each of the 7 digits or letters are called characters, and each value is a specific option for each character. Each character has 1 to 34 possible values. A value can be a number from 0 to 9, or a letter from A through H, J through N, and P through Z. The alphabetic letters of O and I are not used, so not to be confused with numbers 0 and 1. Each code is constructed by choosing a specific value for each of the 7 characters. Values are assigned for each character, specifying the section, the body system, the root operation, the body part, approach, device, and qualifier. The definition of each character is a function of its physical position in the code. The same value placed in a different position means something different. ICD-10 PCS code, the 7 characters. Here they are broke down. Your section is 1, your body systems 2, root operation 3, body part 4, approach 5, device 6, and qualifier is 7. The index proves the alphabetic listing of procedure titles, root operations, body parts, and devices. Codes can be found in the index based on the root operation term. Index entries exist for common procedure titles. The term in the index may specify the first 3 or 4 characters. Each table identifies the first 3 characters of the code. The table is used to obtain the complete code by specifying the last 4 characters. Each table is composed of rows that specify the valid combinations of code values. Characters 4, 5, 6, and 7 must be chosen from the same row. So an example of how to use the ICD-10 PCS index and tables is as follows. Here is an open appendectomy. Access the term appendectomy in the index. There's 2 entries, excision and resection. The coder must know the definition of the 2 entries to select the correct table. Appendectomy is a resection. It is the removal of the entire body part of appendix. You will then access the table ODT, resection, appendix. 4 columns appear to be considered with values that are appropriate with ODT. 4th character is the body part, appendix. 5th character is the approach, open. 6th character is the device used, no device. And the 7th character is the qualifier, no qualifier. Each of the 7 characters have a defined meaning. Character 1, the section, that's the first character. It determines the broad category or section where the code is located. In the first section, medical and surgical all begin with 0 or O. Character 2, body system. This defines the body system, which is the general physiological system or anatomic region involved. 3 is your root operation, the objective of the procedure being performed. Character 4, body part. The body part of a specific anatomical site where the procedure is performed. Character 5, the approach. This is the technique used to reach the operative site. 7 approaches are defined. Character 6, the device. Depending on the procedure, there may or may not be a device left in place at the end of the procedure. Character 7, the qualifier. This is defined for a particular code, an additional attribute of the procedure. So the ICD-10 PCS is composed of 16 sections with the section values using numbers 0 through 9, letters B through D, and letters F through H. The 16 sections contained within 3 main sections are the medical and surgical section, the medical and surgical related section, and the ancillary section. The first section, medical and surgical section, contains the majority of procedures typically performed in an inpatient setting. The first character, all procedures begin with the section value of 0. The second section, medical and surgical related section, includes procedures such as obstetrics, placement, administration, measurement and monitoring, extracorporeal assistance and performance, extracorporeal therapies, osteopathic, other procedures, and chiropractic. The third section, the ancillary section, includes procedures such as imaging, nuclear medicine, radiation oncology, physical rehabilitation and diagnostic audiology, mental health, and substance abuse. All procedures begin with a section value of B through D and F through H. These are all letters. In the medical surgical section, the first character, 0. Second character, body system. There are 31 body systems identified. Some are customary body systems that have multiple body system values. For example, circulatory and musculoskeletal have multiple values. Third character is root operations. 31 root operations, each representing the specific objectives of the procedure. 9 groups of procedures. They're listed here for you to review. This is also in your PowerPoint. Your fourth character, body part, represents the specific body part of the system which the surgery is performed. This may specify laterality. Some examples include lower extremities, body system, or left foot for body part. Fifth character, the approach. Technique used to reach the site of the procedure. 7 different approaches: open, percutaneous, percutaneous endoscopic, via natural or artificial opening, via natural or artificial opening endoscopic, via natural or artificial opening endoscopic with percutaneous endoscopic assistance, and external. Your sixth character is the device. This specifies the device that remains after the procedure is completed. It is used with certain procedures. There are 4 general types of devices: biological, synthetic material that takes place of all or a portion of a body part, biological or synthetic material that assists or prevents a physiological function, therapeutic material, or mechanic or electronic appliance. Your 7th character is your qualifier. It is used with certain procedures to define an additional attribute. Unique values for individual procedures as needed. For example, identify the destination site in a bypass. The objective of the procedure, root operation, your 3rd character. In ICD-10 PCS, each component of a procedure is defined separately. The coder analyzes the objective report to identify the objective of the procedure. The procedure coded is the procedure performed. If an intended procedure is changed or discontinued, the root operation is based on the actual procedure performed. Coding multiple procedures with ICD-10 PCS root operation. If multiple procedures are performed that are defined by distinct objectives during a single operative episode, then multiple procedure codes are used. For example, obtaining a vein graft used for a coronary artery bypass surgery is coded as a separate procedure from the bypass itself. Multiple procedure codes are coded if the same root operation is performed on different body parts that have distinct body parts values in ICD-10 PCS. For example, a biopsy or diagnostic excision is performed on the duodenum and rectum. For example, the same root operation is repeated on different body sites that are included in the same body part value, such as a biopsy performed on the saline muscle and the platysma muscle, both neck and neck muscles, and the neck muscle is the body part. Distinctive procedures with multiple root operations are performed on the same body part. For example, a biopsy of the pancreas and partial pancreatectomy is performed. The intended procedure cannot be accomplished and is converted to a different approach. For example, a laparoscopic nephrectomy is attempted but must be converted to an open nephrectomy. The laparoscopic port of the procedure is coded as an inspection, and the open procedure is coded as an open resection for the nephrectomy. If the procedure performed is a complete or partial redo of a previous procedure, the root operation that identifies the redo procedure performed is coded and not the root operation of the revision. The correction of complications arising from the original procedure, other than device complications, are coded to the procedure performed. Value chosen represents the specific body part of the body system, character 2, on which surgery was performed. Your body parts may specify laterality. ICD-10 PCS does not have a specific value for every body part. In those instances, the body part value selected would be either the whole body part value or body part value of the closest proximal branch, for example, with nerves and blood vessels. The coder should look up the body part named in the alphabetic index to identify the value for a specific anatomical site. For example, there is an entry for an adductor brevis muscle in the index that refers the coder to use muscle, upper leg, right or left. The approach is the technique used to reach the site of a procedure. The coder must know the definitions of the 7 approaches. These are the 7 different approaches used, shown here in this video. These are also located in your PowerPoint notes. In your book, you can review Table 2.8 that identifies the 7 approaches. Table 2.8 is located on page 55 of your textbook. Also review figures 2.2 through 2.7 in your chapter as examples of the types of procedures that are described in the 7 approaches. The approach is composed of 3 components: the access location, the method, and the type of instrumentation. Access specific, the external site through which the internal organ is reached, through skin or mucous membrane, incised or punctured, open and percutaneous approaches. External orifices, external opening, natural or artificial. The method is how the external access location is entered for the procedure performed on an internal body part. Open method means there is cutting through the skin or mucous membranes and other body layers. This may include instrumentation through a puncture or minor incision. Instrumentation is specialized equipment used to perform a procedure on an internal body part. This may or may not be used to visualize the procedure site. An endoscopic is the term used in approach values when instrumentation permits a procedure site to be visualized. External approach is used when the procedure is performed directly on the skin or mucous membrane. This may be performed indirectly by the application of external force. The device, or 6th character of the ICD-10 PCS code, specifies that the device remains after the procedure is completed. Some examples of devices are drainage device, a monitoring device, an infusion device, an audiologist tissue substitute, extraluminal device, intraluminal device, synthetic substitute, artificial sphincter, stimulator lead, other device, or no device. There are 4 general types of devices: grafts and prostheses that take place of all or a portion of a body part, such as a skin graft or a joint prosthesis. Implants are therapeutic materials that are not absorbed by, eliminated by, or incorporated into a body part. An example is a radioactive implant, internal fixation device, tissue expander. Simple or mechanical appliances that assist or prevent a physiological function, such as a tracheostomy, airway device, or a vascular graft. Electronic appliances that assist, monitor, or take the place of or prevent a physiological function, such as a cardiac pacemaker generator, a cochlear implant hearing device, or a neurostimulator. If the objective of the procedure is to put in a device, then the root operation is insertion. If the device is put in to meet an objective other than insertion, the root operation defining the underlying objective is used. For example, when a procedure is performed to replace a joint with a synthetic device, the root operation is replacement. Some materials incidental to a procedure, such as clips, ligatures, and sutures, are not specified in the device characters. Specific device entries are included in the index to allow the code to identify the appropriate device value. For example, A Kirschner wire is referenced to use internal fixation device as the device value. The following root operations must have specific devices coded with these procedures. That includes change, insertion, removal, replacement, revision, and supplement. All other root operations may or may not have devices as part of the procedure. Alteration, bypass, creation, destruction, dilation, division, drainage, excision, extirpation, fragmentation, fusion, map, occlusion, release, repair, reposition, resection, restriction, and transfer. The qualifier. This is your 7th character of your IC10 PCS code. The qualifier adds more information to describe the procedure. The individual procedures have unique values for qualifiers in the 7th character position. A qualifier specifies a particular attribute about a procedure. Qualifiers may have a narrow application to a specific root operation. A qualifier may identify the destination site in a bypass procedure. Other qualifiers identify the type of transplant performed, such as allogenic, synchrogenetic, and zooplastic. The most common qualifier expected to be used is the X for diagnostic to identify when a biopsy procedure is performed. IC10 PCS official guidelines for coding and reporting. Guidelines were developed by CMS and NCHS. They were approved by the cooperating parties for IC10 PCS, AHA, AHIMA, CMS, and NCHS. Guidelines accompany and assist in the interpretation of the official conventions and instructions within the ICD-10 PCS. Conventions and instructions in ICD-10 PCS take precedence over the guidelines. Adherence to the guidelines is required under HIPAA, as the ICD-10 PCS codes are required for hospital inpatient healthcare settings under HIPAA. Current guidelines are the 2017 edition included in the website provided by this publication or on the CMS website. The guidelines consist of 5 parts: the convention, medical and surgical section guidelines including directions for body system, root operations, body part, approach and device characters, obstetric section guidelines, new technology section, and selection of the principal procedure. The entire set of ICD-10 PCS guidelines for coding and reporting is required reading for coders. The overview of the ICD-10 PCS guidelines in the textbook is intended to provide a synopsis of information contained within the guidelines. Please refer to your textbook for review. ICD-10 PCS New Technology Section Codes. These were added to the ICD-10 PCS in October 2015. They capture new technologies not currently classified in ICD-10 PCS. This section includes codes for medical surgical procedures, medical and surgical related procedures, and ancillary procedures. 7 characters for new technology section. The first character section, X. Second character is your body system. Third character, operation. Fourth character, body part. Fifth character, approach. Sixth character, device, substance, or technology. And the 7th character is the new technology group. These include unique procedures requested via the new technology application process for Medicare. This includes the use of new devices, substances, and technology, including specialized drug infusions. New technology group is a number of letter that can change each year as a new technology code is added to the system. The 7th character is a unique value every year when the codes are added. The body system values are the second character for the new technology codes. These values do not change year to year. The root operation is the third character. There are 3 root operations used in this section: extirpation, introduction, and monitoring. Guidelines for Section X, standalone codes. These may be used as a second code with another ICD-10 PCS code to describe the complete procedure. When Section X contains a code title that describes a specific new technology procedure, only that X code is reported for the procedure. New technology codes are located by using the ICD-10 PCS index or tables. In the index, the name of the new technology device, substance, or technology for a Section X code is included as a main term. Codes may also be listed in the index under the main term of new technology. So the selection of the principal procedure. According to ICD-10 PCS official guidelines for coding and reporting, the following instructions are applied in the selection of principal procedure and clarification on the importance of the relation to the principal diagnosis when more than one procedure is performed. Number 1. Procedure performed for definitive treatment for both principal diagnosis and secondary diagnosis. Sequence procedure performed for definitive treatment, most related to principal diagnosis as the principal procedure. Number 2. The procedure performed for definitive treatment and diagnostic procedure performed for both principal diagnosis and secondary diagnosis. Sequence procedure performed for definitive treatment, most related to principal diagnosis as the principal procedure. Number 3. A diagnostic procedure was performed for the principal diagnosis, and a procedure is performed for definitive treatment of a secondary diagnosis. Sequence the diagnostic procedure as the principal procedure. Since the procedure is most related to the principal procedure, this takes precedence. Number 4. No procedures performed that are related to the principal diagnosis. Procedures performed for definitive treatment and diagnostic procedures were performed for secondary diagnosis. Sequence procedure performed for definitive treatment of secondary diagnosis as principal procedure, since there are no procedures, definitive or non-definitive treatment, related to principal diagnosis. So when assigning an ICD-10 PCS code, your procedure code is constructed by assigning values for each of the characters of the code. Your procedural term is referenced in the alphabetic index. Your main terms in the index can be root operation phrases with subterms, such as resection gallbladder, or a common procedure term. The purpose of the alphabetic index is to locate the appropriate table to construct an ICD-10 PCS procedure code. The PCS tables should be consulted for the most appropriate valid code. The coder does not have to use the index before proceeding to the tables to construct a code.